When it comes to desktop audio, there's a lot of options out there ranging from the simple and affordable to the truly extravagant. And with so many options and opinions out there, it could be very confusing and overwhelming for someone who's just looking for a just do it sort of solution. If you're someone who's looking for just a simple to use, plug and play, reasonably priced, and solid performing desktop solution, well, I might just have what you're looking for. Hello, I'm Master Marslander, and this is the Zen DAC 3. It is the third generation DAC amp from the Zen lineup by iFi. It features a new design, some new tech under the hood, and comes in at $300, though you can often find it on sale. This particular unit was provided to us by iFi, so thank you very much, iFi, for providing this out for this review. But of course, as always, all thoughts and opinions are going to be my own. The Zen DAC 3. We have a similar, very similar body shape and design as the previous Zen DAC lineup and Zen lineup in general, but there is definitely a nice new design methodology, design look here, which I think looks really, really freaking nice. It's a very elegant kind of look, while also still being pretty classy. It's not super gaudy. I really like the look of it. So what we have here is still an all aluminum chassis, and we have metal faceplates, both on the front and the back. And overall, it's just remarkably well machined. iFi does such an amazing job with their body design, their industrial design. It's machined remarkably well all around. You're going to see so many little details on this thing that are just genuinely impressive and just adds to this very nice, subtle, but elegant design. Here on the front plate, we have first our power match button, which is basically just your gain switch, your high gain or low gain. Turning that on gives you a higher gain for higher impedance headphones, and having that turned off is a lower gain that is more optimal for sensitive headphones like IEMs. Next, we have the infamous X bass button, or what I like to call the fun button, which is a full analog bass correction that does a really phenomenal natural job of really boosting your low end in a very, again, just natural sort of way. Next, we have this beautifully machined, really stunningly made volume knob here. It's got a little knurling on the end, and it is a very, very smooth, very linear volume knob, which also lights up. Yeah, that's kind of cool, right? And the color of the light here, the color of the LEDs behind the volume knob, which again, it's a very subtle color, a very subtle light. It's not going to be, blasting in the middle of the night or anything like that. But yeah, the color on the light back here changes depending on the sample rate of the music that you were listening to. So while it's green right now, if I'm listening to, say, MQA sample rates, it'll change it to a different color. I believe it changes to blue or purple or something like that. But yeah, very cool, very subtle little accent that I think not only, again, matches with the kind of elegant, simple design, but also gives us some extra functionality. And just to show you how this looks, power match on, X boost on, just nice subtle little white lights. Next to that, we have our single-ended 1/4 inch headphone output, and then our balanced 4.4 pentagon headphone output. Up here on the faceplate, you notice this kind of striking contrast texture on the top portion of the faceplate. It looks like leather, but it's not. It is still a metal faceplate, but it does have this nice kind of slightly green, though not really, and leather-like texture to it to just add this layer of cool design elegance. I dig it. Here on the back plate, we have a 4.4 millimeter balanced output, and then we have a variable to fixed output switch. So you can switch the output to variable or fixed. This is very unique at this price point. And what this does is while you're on the variable switch, you are able to control your volume from the unit itself, whereas you switch this to fixed, and now you do all your volume control from a line out, such as a receiver or another amplifier. Next, we have our typical RCA outputs. Then we have our digital input, which is USB-C, and can double to power the device, so you don't actually need any other external power source. You could just plug this directly into your PC or device and it'll work both to transfer data as well as power the unit. But if you do want to do external power for whatever reason, you do have the option for that with a 5-volt DC out here. And when you do use the 5-volt DC out, it will make sure that the USB-C is only transferring data and not transferring power. You know, again, just kind of ensuring that you were getting a clean signal. Now getting into the features of the Zen DAC 3. RMS power output from the 1/4 inch here is at least 210 milliwatts into 32 ohms, and the 4.4 balance goes up to 390 milliwatts at 64 ohms. The total harmonic distortion is less than 0.013 from the 1/4 inch output and 0.005% from the 4.4 balanced output. It supports sample rates up to 768 kilohertz at 32-bit, up to DSD 512, and also supports single and double-sided DXD, as well as a full MQA decoder. Built-in is a 16-core XMOS microcontroller, a Burr Brown true native chipset. It incorporates a balanced circuit approach, which reduces noise and crosstalk. There's also a built-in GNT, or Global Master Timing, crystal clock. And this is pretty neat. Built-in, right out of the gate, just plug and play, built-in support for game consoles, specifically for the PS5 and the Nintendo Switch. So that's pretty cool. Now looking at the accessories that come included with the Zen DAC 3, first we get a very simple but very usable USB cable, which terminates USB-C to USB-A. And again, the USB-C can be used for both transferring your data as well as charging the unit itself. Next, we get a very simple but very nicely machined, very nicely little thin 1/4 inch adapter. So you can have your 3.5 millimeter typical headphone plug right into here, and it'll terminate to a 1/4 inch single-ended. Looks very nice, very thin and elegant. And then you get this genuinely really nice RCA cable. Look at this. Marked red and white for right and left channel. It's not super long, and it's actually made very well. I really like this thing, and it's really cool that they include that with the unit. So I really appreciate this. This is really nice. And then besides, of course, your instructions, the most important accessory you get with any iFi product, the iFi sticker. So the Zen DAC here is very well made, comes in a decent package, and a very, very nice design. How does it sound? In the most general terms, it sounds clean, dynamic, and fresh. With very neutral headphones, it can offer a very clinical listening experience, giving you really fine details, while at the same time offering a much more exciting and bombastic experience when you have the X-Bass turned on. Now, this has a solid state amplifier, so it is a very solid state kind of sound, but one with more personality than the more really clinical, analytical amplifiers like something like a Topping A90D. And then with X-Bass turned on, that very clinical listening experience all of a sudden approaches something more like a tube-like listening experience, providing a very natural elevation in the bass range and even more kind of soundstage performance. Bass range out of the gate, again, very natural, very even, very well controlled. Hitting that bass X button boosts that bass range in a very natural way. It is an analog converter, an analog bass corrector in here. So it does a really excellent job of elevating your bass range without it sounding super artificial. So with the X-Bass on, your bass range hits deeper, hits heavier, is more present, especially in the mid bass. And I think you do get even a little bit extra kind of sub bass thump and texture. But again, it doesn't sound artificial. It's natural sounding. It's the same technology we saw in the HIP DAC 3. Mid-range is super clear, super crystal clear, very natural. Vocals have a very real presence. They are pretty forward. It's a fairly vocal forward sound in general. And just an excellent amount of detail and resolution while maintaining, again, just this relaxed, enjoyable, while still natural and pleasant sound. The treble range is as bright as you need it to be. Whatever headphones you put into this, it'll attack the treble the way that your headphones can approach it. It's excellent. It is only rolled off at the very top end, so you're not hitting anything fatiguing, and it's very well textured, very sparkly, and just bright and engaging and very, very crisp and detailed. It's not the biggest sounding amplifier. It doesn't provide a huge amount of soundstage. Using the X-Bass does help a little bit. It does add a little bit of soundstage, but overall it's just kind of a medium soundstaging amplifier, somewhere around here-ish range. Nothing huge and gigantic like the Ferrum or something ridiculously huge and gigantic like the Flux Labs Mentor. And then as far as your imaging and separation, again, that's going to be mostly determined by your headphones and it is your amplifier, but it was a fair, good, even amount of separation and imaging. It was very precise, very omnidirectional, and did a fantastic job. A legendary painting with the Zen lineup is the HD 6XX. So we went out of our way to test the Zen DAC 3 using my little HD 6XS right here to see how well this paired. And with the 6XX, you get a very natural and evenly balanced sound right out of the gate. It brings out some of the 6XX's particular talent for timbre and an excellent mid-range representation. With the X-Bass boost on, the 6XX becomes this huge and bombastic theatrical experience. It's not quite the same as pairing the 6XX with a true tube amplifier, but it is actually getting pretty close. What's, I think, most impressive to me about the iFi Zen DAC 3 here is that it's an all-in-one package. Everything you need is in one device. This competes with full stacks, and I've had a number of hybrid DAC amps before, but honestly, this might be, at this price range at $300, kind of the best iteration of a hybrid DAC amp that I've ever heard. It does a phenomenal job. It genuinely competes with some of the other kind of more recognized stack solutions like your shit Magni Modi. It's on par with it. You're definitely getting on par, but in a single package. Instead of two devices, one device. Instead of 2 to 4 freaking cables, one cable, one USB cable to connect this, and you're done. It's simple, easy, and just flat out works. So the Zen DAC 3 here is a simple way to get great sounding desktop audio. It's a headphone and speaker solution in a small form factor and very elegant design. It has plenty of options and flexibility to help you achieve whatever your audio needs are, while again maintaining a single unit and small form factor design, saving you on that valuable desktop real estate. It's an excellent design, excellent sound performance, and truly an excellent value. iFi, thank you very much for providing the Zen DAC 3 to us for this review. We appreciate you. I hope that you enjoyed this, and I'll be seeing you again very soon.